Weibo Gaming is perhaps everyone's beloved team, and heading into IVL Autumn 2025, many fans were rooting for Weibo to make the finals similar to their summer campaign. But what we got instead was a level of disappointment and dread, as Weibo would go on to place a disappointing 5th place. Now, it's easy to blame the players and use a myriad of insults, but this channel is about constructive criticism. And after rewatching it time and time again, it starts to become clear that one of the key issues many critics missed was none other than their ban picks. To start, we need to primarily look at the Survivor side of the match, starting with their first Survivor match against GR. Here, they pick Knight, which was an incredibly puzzling pick as Knight wasn't really a priority in round 1. In this instance, excitement Goatman becomes an even bigger issue, and the decoding in the match would be way too slow to optimally play for a win. The worst part is that Koting has yet to play a single Knight match in his IVL career, which made this all the more confusing. What's more concerning was that GR wasn't even banning optimally, choosing to ban Mechanic despite Persica on Archer, and banning Professor when Koting often uses Magician or Aeroplanist. In the second Survivor match against GR, their ban picks reveal a major flaw. Hui Yi does not have enough rescuers. During the regular season, Hui Yi only really played Mercenary, First Officer, and Gravekeeper, and this forces the team to pretty much pick Mercenary first, despite GR not banning Escapologist, a common round 2 ban. Now, this is fine on its own. The problem came when the team then selected Coordinator as their third pick, which basically meant that if Lucky Guy were to ever get chased, the decoding would be incredibly slow. Aeroplanist could have been chosen earlier, or they could even go with Fire Investigator first, then pick a nicher Gardener or Cheerleader, which may not be as good as Coordinator in theory, but is clearly a better fit in a team composition that doesn't already have good decoding. Their Hunter ban picks weren't the greatest either, though to be fair, banning as Hunters usually comes to preference. Going back to the first round, we see Weibo Gaming banning Lucky Guy following a Professor and Magician pick. Now, in most circumstances, Lucky Guy is a reasonable ban. The problem comes with the fact that Lucky Guy was likely not a priority for GR anymore by that point. Their priority would be securing a Rescuer and a Harasser. And while they could switch out the Harasser for Lucky Guy, that doesn't allow them to play for a win, and yet can also bring up Normal if he really is concerned with Cypher Rush. In this instance, it may have been better to ban the Antiquarian or ban the Archer. If they were actively concerned of a Lucky Guy pick, then it might have been even more ideal to simply ban a Rescuer, forcing GR to pick one as their third pick, worried that they'll have another Rescuer banned. Now, some of these issues were fixed during their match against TE, which does make me wonder if the suboptimal BP choices were intentional. Regardless, their round 1 composition looks smoother with no more Knight. However, the same issue revealed itself in round 2 when they were forced to go for an early Mercenary despite no Escapologist ban, and then they chose the Coordinator alongside it. The difference is that instead of attempting to salvage the decoding with a Lucky Guy, they run a Meteorologist, forcing PP to chase the Coordinator as Meteorologist would have likely caused too much trouble. Unfortunately, it's this match where it becomes painstakingly obvious that Weibo's players were not performing at their peak, as they were still losing despite less mistakes in their bad picks. This forces them to pick 3 comfort characters by round 3, giving them up on the global bans, and while they clutched a round 4 win with a Persicaseer, the lack of comfort characters led them astray when they needed a 4 escape by the 5th round. So what was the main problem that caused such inefficient ban picks? Well, the most obvious reason as to why is simply the fact that the Survivors team is too inflexible. Unlike the top teams, Weibo Gaming had their key round 1 harassers on Persica, whilst also having key decoders, like Lucky Guy Mechanic, on Persica as well. This created a key issue. Teams don't have to worry about having both a key decoder and a key harasser in the team, because only Persica has the capacity to play both. Round 2 was obviously an issue in Hui Yi's Rescuer pool. By the time they reach round 3, they're often in a point deficit and forced to use their comfort picks. So even if they don't lose in round 3, they're running out of comfort options in both round 4 and 5. Of course, there were many issues in their IVL run, but this is perhaps the one that is least discussed. Even if Weibo Gaming was playing at the same level we know them for, it wouldn't necessarily matter because their team compositions allows opponents to quickly restrict their options, not only making Weibo Gaming incredibly predictable, but also incredibly easy for teams to prepare and practice for. Weibo Gaming did not simply lose because they were bad or they were inconsistent, they lost because they were predictable. And it meant teams knew exactly what to expect from this team. Moving into Koa, Weibo Gaming needs to figure out the character pool and make it so that it's more flexible moving forward. Otherwise, the same issues will simply reappear once they play in the qualifiers. But that's all for this video. If you enjoyed, feel free to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Peace.